Okay, we are talking about connective tissue and the impact of connective tissue on anti-aging health and vitality. When we talk about the body breaking down, when we talk about aging and degenerative diseases, what we're really talking about, in large part at least, is connective tissue breaking down. Connective tissue breaking down. When we talk about autoimmune diseases, again, in large part, we're talking about connective tissue. Aging, all the visible signs of aging, the apparent signs of aging, these are all, in large measure, connective tissue issues. And this is so important. Breaking the body up into its constituent parts is so important. We can isolate where the problems are. We get more leverage. We get more power when it comes to our anti-aging strategies. And by the way, this is all as it regards protein and peptides and the amino acid cysteine, which is one of the most important nutritional factors when it comes to building and hardening connective tissue. By taking anti-aging strategies and focusing them on connective tissue, we are cutting to the chase. We're fine-tuning our anti-aging supplementation, dietary, and lifestyle strategies in terms of the specific component of the body that needs to be addressed. It's not the surface that needs to be addressed, the epithelia. It's not the nerves, largely, that need to be addressed. Although both of these are obviously important, aging, and therefore anti-aging, is really an issue of the matrix, the beef. The meat of the body, the muscle tissue / connective tissue matrix. This is why bone soup is so important. This is why bone soup may be the most important and functional of all bodybuilding foods, because it targets connective tissue. Bone soup is connective tissue. It's liquid connective tissue. When you eat bone soup, you're eating a liquid form of connective tissue. And this liquefied connective tissue goes into your body and builds your connective tissue. This is one of the hallmark ideas of connective tissue building. And this is why vegetarians have such a hard time. This is why vegetarians have such a more difficult time building connective tissue. One of the hallmark ideas of anti-aging and connective tissue building is when we eat connective tissue, we build our connective tissue. When we eat connective tissue amino acids, connective tissue proteins, those amino acids and proteins go through our system and help us build connective tissue. Connective tissue is a biological substance. It's not a botanical substance. It's not a vegetable substance. Yeah, you can put it all together. You can be a vegetarian and you can synthesize the right amino acids. You can create a mosaic of amino acids. You can select the right kinds of amino acids by eating beans, say, by eating certain grains perhaps, by eating mushrooms. But you're not going to get the same kind of impact as if you eat animal products. Animal products will give you the exact proportions, the exact ratios, and the exact kinds of building blocks that are required for building your connective tissue. Now, bone soup is probably the ideal connective tissue building food. Protein in general is important. Eggs are very important. Dairy products can be important for helping build connective tissue. And it's not just food. Exercise is also important. Weight-bearing exercise can build connective tissue, and vitamins too. Vitamin C, vitamins A, vitamins D, very important for building connective tissue. In fact, vitamin C acts like a trigger for turning on the production of connective tissue, like a switch for turning on connective tissue. The disease that's caused by vitamin C deficiency, everybody knows it's scurvy, is a connective tissue disease. Vitamin A is a connective tissue building substance, as is vitamin D, and as is essential fatty acids. All of these nutrients deliver their benefits largely in the connective tissue. Now, I don't want to belabor this next point, but I think it's important to acknowledge that the breakdown and the shriveling up of connective tissue that are associated with aging, that are associated with the aging process, the breakdown and the shriveling of connective tissue are reflective of a breakdown and a shriveling of the various dimensions of health, the spiritual dimension, the mental dimension, and the emotional dimension. Now, the bright side is primarily a show about the physical nature of health. We talk about vitamins, we talk about minerals, we talk about foods, we talk about exercise, we talk about the problems with prescription drugs, but in the interests of being maximally healthy, in the interests of being able to leverage and exploit all of the powers we have as the owners of this incredible, mind-blowing thing we call the human body, we at least have to give a nod to all of the aspects of health. Nothing will cause connective tissue to shrivel up and break down faster than chronic Long-term, perhaps under the radar, but long-term fear. I got a call yesterday from a gal who was scared about her upcoming vaccination. She was going to get a job at a hospital, and they were going to make her get a vaccine. Now, aside from the incredible rudeness of forcing somebody to inject poisons into their blood to force them to be vaccinated in order to get a job, aside from that, there's a more fundamental point. This gal was really upset. She was freaked out. She wanted to know about supplements that she could take that would protect her from vaccine toxins. And as it turned out, this was a gal, she's 48 years old, and she had had her thyroid removed in the past. She had no thyroid. This basically means she's running on fear energy. Without a thyroid, you're running on adrenal gland energy, which is, in essence, fear energy. Adrenal energy is survival energy. It's jittery energy. It's anxiety energy. It's insomnia, coffee, cola, caffeine, amphetamine type energy. You all recognize it. We all know what that is. There's no way anyone can be fully and maximally healthy while the body is being run by what is in essence the emergency generator system. Now, this gal wanted supplements for her to protect her from her vaccines. She wanted to know if silver was going to help her to protect her from vaccines. And the point is that the most important strategy for this gal is not nutritional supplements. The most important strategy for any of us is not nutritional supplements. The most important strategy is protecting us, is staying away from fear. It's love and nurturing and sustenance. And the best way to address fear is not nutritional supplementation. It's love and sustenance and nurturing, to tell the body from a biochemical perspective, to give the body the biochemistry that tells it it's safe, to give the body the gift of kind, loving thoughts to tell it it's safe. Joy tells the body it's safe. Feelings of love tell the body it's safe. Protein, amino acids, nutritional supplements work because they tell the body it's safe. Hang tight. I'll finish this up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. We're talking about connective tissue and how the importance of breaking the body down into its component parts in order to address health challenges. I was reading my Facebook page here, or a Facebook page, while we were on break. A guy named Brady wrote a little note. He says he's looking for some advice. His question is if anyone can direct him to anything that can reduce the puffiness and swollen look of bags under his eyes. So this guy Brady continues on saying that he blames his congenital eye condition. His left eye is underdeveloped and his eyes are smaller than they should be, and he wants to know if somebody has a skin cream or a technique to reduce the puffy look. And I'm going to write this guy a letter back, and I'm going to address his question personally, but it reminds me of the basic fundamental misunderstandings that we have about how the human body is structured. Puffiness under the eyes has nothing to do with skin. And I know there's all kinds of skin care products that purport to be able to take care of puffiness under the eyes. And this poor guy, Brady, he's just reading advertisements and listening to so-called skincare professionals telling him that, oh, you got to rub this cream on, the puffiness will disappear. And I see the commercials just like you guys do for products that tell you that if you got puffy eyes, then you rub something on your skin, the puffiness will go away. Well, this is why we're breaking the body down into its components. The surface of the body, the so-called epithelia, what we call the skin, has nothing to do with the connective tissue underneath in terms of treatments. You can't address the connective tissue underneath, which is where puffiness is occurring, by putting something on top of the skin. With very few exceptions, you can't address connective tissue at all by putting something on top of the skin. I say very few exceptions because there are a couple of things that you can do, but not a lot. For the most part, if you have a puffiness under the eyes, if you have wrinkles, if you have boils or zits, you have a condition that looks like it's a skin problem, but it's really occurring deep underneath. And you can't address these deep underneath problems by putting stuff on top of the skin. But if we don't distinguish the various components of the body, we're not going to be able to make this kind of distinction. We're going to say, oh, well, it looks like it's on the skin. It looks like my puffiness is on the skin. I'll rub a cream on it and the puffiness will go away. But if we start to break the body up into its components, if we distinguish the parts of the body, it becomes more understandable that, hey, the puffiness is underneath. It looks like it's coming up on the skin because I can only see the skin. But if we know that there's connective tissue underneath the skin, well, then we say, well, maybe I got to start to address the connective tissue. Indeed, puffiness is a connective tissue problem. The connective tissue called the blood and the circulatory system. The blood and the circulation are part of the connective tissue. If you have puffiness anywhere, you got a connective tissue problem, not a surface problem, which means you got to address the connective tissue. Now, before we went to break, we were talking about non-nutritional strategies for addressing the connective tissue, and the most important is to let the body know it's safe under conditions of threat, under conditions of survival, under conditions of emergency, whether these threats and survival or emergency conditions are psychological or mental or emotional or spiritual or physical, the body will shrivel up. When we are scared, we will go into a fetal position, literally and metaphorically. Our bones will go into a fetal position. Our blood will go into a fetal position. Aging is the visible manifestation of the various components of a body curling up and preparing to die. That's what aging really is. And you can see it dramatically in an older person. Somebody who's in their 80s or 90s, they got that shriveled up look. That's, in effect, the body going into a fetal position from long-term survival threats. When the body doesn't think it's safe, it will not marshal its resources to growth. It will marshal its resources for protection. Protection and growth are opposites. You can either be safe or you can either thrive. You're not doing both. If you're concerned about safety, and there's a real important metaphor in terms of our government and in terms of just walking through the airport. If we have a governmental system that is obsessed with keeping everything safe, keeping us safe purportedly, it will prevent us from thriving. And that's what's really wrong, in my opinion. That's what's really wrong with our political system and with our social system. We're so obsessed with safety. We're so obsessed with certainty. We're so obsessed with security that we have deprived ourselves of our ability to grow and to thrive. And it's true about the body as well. When we're obsessed with certainty and obsessed with security, we are not going to be able to grow and thrive. The most important thing we can do for our body in terms of anti-aging, and it involves nutrition, and it involves good food choices, but really it's about telling the body it's safe, giving the body the gift of safety and security, giving the body the gift of kind, loving thoughts that tell the body it's safe, giving the body the gift of joyful thoughts that tell the body it's safe. Feelings of love and joy tell the body it's secure, it's okay to grow, it's okay to thrive, it's okay to repair. Protein, amino acids, nutrients, the mighty 90 work because they tell the body that it's safe. Abundant nutrition, which is what supplements do, the BTT, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Essential Start Pack, they work because they're telling the body it's safe. They communicate the message to the body that the world has abundant resources. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of nutrients. And it's okay to shunt energy, to direct resources to thrival functions like growth and healing and repair and defense, all of which are the hallmark signs of anti-aging and a healthy body. On the other hand, feelings of fear, thoughts of fear from a biochemical perspective tell the body it's not safe. Fear of vaccines, fear of mercury, fear of the New World Order, fear of the government, fear of the police, fear of our parents, fear of our wives, fear of our mothers-in-law or anything else is never, ever in the body's interest beyond an instantaneous getting the heck out of that situation. Chronic, long-term fear is not in the body's response. If anything you read about or hear or watch on TV provokes a fear response, you can rest assured that while you're in that fear response, your body is contracting, your body is shriveling, you're running higher risks for degenerative diseases, you're running higher risks for immune problems, you're running higher risks for cancer and for shingles and for every other horrible thing that you could think of happening to the body. Fear moves us on the highway of degeneration, on the highway of accelerated aging, on the highway of wrinkles and early death. Watching the news is a type of slow suicide, and it's no wonder that there's a close relationship between the news and the military-industrial complex that thrives on our fear. This shriveling up, this fear contraction response is the aging response. It is the degenerative disease response, whether we're talking bones or muscles or organ systems or whatever. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're coming back with your phone calls right after this. Don't go away. Okay, let's see. Time to hit the phones. Queen Latifah. I think we talked to you yesterday. Is this Latifah in Missouri? What's going on?
Yes.
What's going on, Queen
Ben,
Latifah?
how are you?
Doing good.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, good. I'm doing well today. To reiterate what I went over the other day, I'm 9 weeks pregnant, 41 years old, and I have fibroid tumors.
Okay. You want some help?
Didn't think I could get pregnant because of that, but this is kind of like a miracle to me.
Well, your body wants to get pregnant, and you know that's what the body does. That's one of its main things is it gets pregnant. So you're right. Fibroids typically will keep you from getting pregnant, but it's not so much the fibroids that are doing it; it's the cause of the fibroids. Fibroids are caused by manifestation of the stress response. And we talked about fear, we talked about stress. Then the stress response doesn't have to only be emotional and mental; it could also be physiological. But for one reason or another, your body is under some kind of stress mode. This is extremely important, Latifah, because you're 41 years old, you got fibroids, and you're pregnant. All of these mean that you have a body that is under tremendous stress. That means you're running higher risks, not only for a difficult pregnancy, but you're running high risk for I don't want to get into the details, but you're running some higher risks for everything yucky that you don't want to have happen. Fibroids are caused typically by excess estrogen, and estrogen, in addition to being a stress hormone, is also a birth control hormone, which is why typically you're not going to get pregnant, but you did, and that means you have a strong body, which is all good news. So here's what you're going to want to do, okay? You're going to want to keep every kind of stressor that's under your control away from your body, and that especially means food. Food is the ultimate physiologic stress is the wrong kinds of food. So number one, you got to stay away from any foods that cause digestive problems. You got to have had digestive issues. There's no way you didn't have digestive issues if you're 41 years old and you had fibroids. So you had to have some kind of food allergies, food intolerances. If you don't know about it, that's even more troubling because now you got to go find out what they are. And you got to start paying attention to things like bowel movements, gas, bloating, heartburn, discomfort of any kind in the digestive tract. Link those to foods and eliminate those foods. That's job number one. Job number two is to make sure that you're getting high quality foods because now you're eating for two. Not just eating for yourself, you're eating for your baby. And really your baby's going to get the nutrients before you are. So you're going to be the one that suffers even more quickly than your baby does because the fetus is the priority. So if you're not getting enough protein, what little protein you're getting is going to go to support the baby, and that means you're going to be deficient. In fact, protein is probably the most important nutrient that you need being pregnant. In general, it's the most important.
But not red meat protein, right?
Well, leaving aside this whole craziness about red meat, what do you think the difference between red meat and white meat is? Is there any difference, do you think?
I've heard a lot of weird things. Now, I only eat organic.
Well, I don't want to digress too much because I want to answer your question. I got a bunch of calls here. But what's the difference, do you think, between red and white meat? There is none. The color is different, okay, basically. So when people say stay away from red meat, they imply that, I can eat white meat. No difference. Actually, obviously, there's a difference. The difference is in something called myoglobin, which is found in muscle, and it's not found in a certain kind of muscle that's not in white meat. But the meat itself is the same. The problem with meat is the hormones and the antibiotics and how the meat is processed, and it doesn't matter what color it is. Meat is not quality food. However, there is some good things in meat, so I'm not necessarily saying to stay away from meat. Meat can have some value, but be careful with your meat and don't eat a lot of it. If you want to eat meat, just be extremely careful with it in terms of it being organic meat and non-hormone meat, non-antibiotic meat, and don't eat a lot of it because it is difficult to process. But I'm not necessarily saying to stay away from meat, red or white. What you want to make sure, though, that you're doing is you're getting the kind of protein that are found in eggs and found in whey. These are specifically designed for building a baby. Dairy and eggs are designed, an egg is a baby, and whey protein and dairy protein is designed by nature to build a baby. So these are very much in your interest and in your baby's interest as long as you don't have food allergies, as long as you don't have an allergic response to eggs or to dairy. Some people do.
I don't.
If you don't, there's a
but
super
I heard that dairy can upset the fibroids.
Only if it's,
I ate.
Please don't get me all started on here. Okay, dairy cannot upset the fibroids. Some of the components in dairy might be able to do that, and that's why you got to make sure your dairy is clean, and that's why it's probably not a good idea. You probably want to stick with whey protein. Dairy's not going to upset your fibroids. Your fibroids are a sign of stress, and if dairy has anything in it that exacerbates stress, then it might do it, but the dairy itself doesn't do that. So you got to make sure that you're always organic, you're always hormone-free, you're always antibiotic-free. Protein, number one. Then you want to make sure you're staying with the Mighty 90, number two. That means all of your basic nutrients. Nutritional deficiencies will be regarded by the body as a stress, and we're trying to eliminate any kind of stressors. Fats, by the way, are particularly important for building the baby's brain and building the baby's nervous system. So make sure you're getting essential fatty acids. The Ultimate EFAs from Longevity are a good essential fatty acid supplement. If you have problems with fat metabolism, and many women do, and many women as they get older have problems with fat metabolism, and many women with fibroids and estrogen problems have problems with fat metabolism, you're going to have an issue around absorbing those fats and fatty vitamins, which are really important for building the baby's body. That means vitamin A, that means vitamin D, vitamin K to a certain extent, and of course essential fatty acids. So make sure you take all of these fatty nutrients with foods, with meals, with your digestive enzymes, and perhaps you want to throw in some lecithin granules with all fatty supplements and fatty foods, and also perhaps some bile salts, B-I-L-E, bile salts, and maybe pancreatin, and I'd be finishing all my all meals really, with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So you're focusing on digestive health and digestive wellness. Don't forget the Biolumin Nightly Essence and probiotics. You got to stabilize that gut. Any issues that you have with digestive, intestinal health and the health of the bacterial flora, what they call the biome, B-I-O-M-E, the biome, that is the population of bacteria in the gut, can really cause havoc on the circulatory system as well as on building a baby. Remember, blood and nutrients oxygen and nutrients are being delivered through the blood. If you have issues with bacteria in the gut, you're not making enough, or you got the wrong kind of bacteria in the gut, you're going to have issues with the circulatory system and oxygen delivery to the baby. And by the way, speaking of oxygen delivery, make sure you got your deep breathing techniques. Very, very important. So much more to talk about here. Last thing I want to tell you, though, Latifah, is if your body is under stress, your fetus's body is going to be under stress. Any stress that the mother has will compromise fetal health in several ways. Number one, you're going to have a fetus that's not going to be developing correctly, but even worse, this is very, very important, mothers-to-be, and Latifah, this is extremely important. If your body is under stress, your baby will be predisposed to a hypersensitive stress response for the rest of his life. That means any stress you're under, whether it's nutritional stress through deficiencies or emotional or mental stresses, will make your baby more sensitive to the stress response for the rest of your baby's life. And that's so important. Give your gift the baby of safety and security through nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Hang tight, Latifah. A couple more things I want to tell you, and then we'll take the rest of these phone calls as well. Hang tight. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
All right, we are back on The Bright Side. Queen Latifah in Missouri, mom-to-be. Are you there, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
So you get the theme of everything. I told you a bunch of stuff, but the overriding theme, the theme of everything we talked about is safety in the body. Nutritional supplementation to tell the body it's safe, staying away from food toxins and food allergens to tell the body it's safe, supporting digestive wellness to tell the body it's safe, and then don't forget about the real importance of oxygenation, because nothing will tell the body that there's an emergency or its survival is being threatened faster than a lack of oxygen, and your baby is very, very dependent on healthy oxygenation and healthy oxygen delivery through the blood. If you're under stress, your baby will be under stress, and your baby will be more sensitized to stress for the rest of his life. So this is so important. Does that make sense? You follow what I'm saying here? Any stress that you have will make your baby more stressed out, more responsive to stress, more sensitive to the stress response for the rest of the baby's life. Now, certainly the emotional, mental aspects are important. So relaxing, listening to, they do studies on music, Mozart and relaxing music when the baby listens to relax, the fetus listens to relaxing music, the babies tend to be healthier. All of these are ways of telling the fetus that the world is safe, that the body is safe, it's protected, and all of its energy can be spent building the fetus. It doesn't have to scrimp and save when it comes to nutrients. You want to tell the body that there is abundant nutrition, abundant oxygen, there's no threats going on, and you can do that through supplementation, deep breathing techniques, as well as mental and emotional strategies. Does that help you, ma'am?
Yes, it does so much.
Okay.
I feel better
good.
already.
Oh, that's awesome. And then also, don't forget, I told you about the EFAs, which are important for the baby's brain. Iodine is also important for the baby's brain. Make sure you're getting enough iodine, among other nutrients, but iodine and EFAs are also very important. Congratulations, too. I hope everything works out. And stay in touch with us. Let us know how you're doing, okay, Latifah? Oh, I'm sorry. I just cut you off. I apologize. All right. Moving on. Let's go to Don in Georgia. Welcome to the bright side, Don. What's up?
Hey, thank you, Ben. How you doing today?
Doing good. What's going on, man?
Okay, I have a multi-stack question. I'll try to move as fast as possible because I have more questions than you have callers.
Okay.
I'm dealing with AFib, which is, I believe, causing a frozen shoulder problem.
Okay.
I realize when I eat less food that are high density foods,
Yeah.
that I have less problems with the AFib.
I know.
Now,
No
my
kidding.
question is,
Yeah.
right. My question is protein.
Yeah.
I love eggs, but they don't love me. I get crazy gas from it. I've tried the veggie pea proteins and stuff like that. I get horrible bloating.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I hear that wheatgrass and Rejuvelac has protein in it, but I love those. I don't know if I'm getting enough protein.
No, you're probably not. Wheatgrass is amazing. I love wheatgrass, and it is a good source of protein, but it's not going to be enough protein. And the fact that you're having a problem with eggs and with pea protein and other sources of protein tells me that you may be malnourished. AFib is a sign of a body in distress. It's a sign that the body's not getting enough blood, and electrical energy is not being conducted through the heart correctly. It's linked to cortisol and stress hormones, and that stress can be obviously emotional and mental and spiritual, but just from a physiological perspective, it could have to do with malnourishment. And the fact that you're not absorbing protein is a real red flag that would indicate that you may be having a problem absorbing amino acids and absorbing protein. If you're not absorbing those aminos and you're not absorbing your protein, you're not going to be able to build, you're not going to be able to heal, and that is going to really put a burden on the body. So you want to focus, number one, on helping the body, the digestive system, with its role in absorption. I'd be using probiotics. You may want to get on some glutamine powder, which can help absorption. Certainly staying away from problem foods is in your interest. And then you need protein not only just for overall health and for building and regeneration, but you need protein for building and strengthening the digestive tract, which in your case is really the area that we want to be focusing on. So try the bone soup. Have you experimented with bone soup yet, Don?
I haven't tried the bone soup.
Go on the bone soup. The bone soup's easy to absorb. It tends not to cause digestive problems because it's liquefied and it's easy to absorb, and it contains specific nutrients for building things, especially nutrients for building the lining of the digestive tract as well as the connective tissue of the digestive tract. Also, in addition to bone soup, you may want to experiment using smoothies. Have you tried whey protein at all?
I've tried, the One World Whey is about the only way that I've tried.
Do it. That's the best. You don't need anything.
It's extremely expensive, though.
It's only, that's right. But it's not really that expensive. It's like $2 a dose, maybe even $3 a dose, like a couple hamburgers. It's all relative, It may be expensive in absolute terms. It may be $60 or $70 in absolute terms, but relatively speaking, you're spending $2 or $3 for a dose of protein. Now, where are you going to go to get a good, healthy dose of protein for $2 or $3? Anywhere? Nowhere. So yeah, in absolute terms, it might be expensive, but when you compare it to everything else, it's not expensive at all, and it's well worth it. It's an awesome product. Plus, you're supporting my friend Steven, who does a lot of really good work in the world of nutrition. In any case, whey protein smoothies, bone soup, liquefy your protein, use digestive enzymes with all your protein, the ultimate enzymes, and you may want to try still experimenting with the eggs. Sometimes people can eat raw eggs, but they can't eat cooked eggs. Sometimes they can eat soft-boiled eggs, but they can't eat scrambled eggs. Sometimes if you use your eggs with digestive enzymes, that will help you process them. So experiment a little bit, and always finish off your protein meals with a shot of apple cider vinegar, which can help improve digestion and absorption of protein. All right, Don, I got to move on. Is there anything else that you got?
Sounds good. Magnesium oxide or magnesium, what's the other one?
Glycinate's the best. The osteomag.
Glycinate.
Glycinate is the best form. Thanks so much for your call, bro.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. All right, Lina in Texas, welcome to the bright side. What's going on? Lina baby. What are you doing?
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Lina. What's up?
How are you? I enjoyed your presentation in Austin.
Oh, thank you. And
Yes.
oh, awesome. Oh, thank you so much.
I have two quick questions. The first one is about the Knox gelatin powder.
Yeah.
You said to mix that and drink it right away, or do you let it sit?
Doesn't matter if you drink it right away. It's collagen, basically. Gelatin is cooked collagen. It's processed collagen. So when you eat gelatin, Knox gelatin, or the glucogel caps from Longevity, you're eating collagen. You're eating the raw material building blocks for making your own collagen, which is the bulk of your connective tissue. The largest proportion of your connective tissue is collagen. It's the most important protein in the body. When you eat that stuff, it helps your body make that stuff. So yes, it doesn't matter if it's cooked or not. It doesn't matter if it's fresh or not. Just get it in your system. If you don't want Knox gelatin, you can use the glucogel caps, or bone soups will get you some gelatin too.
Yeah, I made some of that bone soup. It is awesome. I enjoyed it very much. And then my second question is about the pickled beets. I love beets. Can one eat too many?
No. Beets have some sugar in them. Have a lot of sugar in them.
That was my concern, yeah.
It's the sweet taste that you want to stay away from as best as possible. A tiny little bit of sweetness is good. It'll spike your insulin just a tiny little bit so you get more nutrients in the body. But long-term ingestion of this sweet taste is something that you want to stay away from. And beets are incredibly sweet. It's not like processed kind of sugar, but still, it's the sweet taste that you want to be careful of. If they're fermented, that makes a difference. But if I would keep the beets, I wouldn't go crazy on the beets, as valuable as they are. Beets are amazingly valuable food, but I wouldn't go crazy on the beets. But a little bit of beets, certainly, it's a great health tool, great for the liver, great for the blood, a wonderful source of carotenes and plant and phytonutrients. It's a wonderful food, beets, but just don't go crazy on them.
Right. And then the last question is, you're talking often about glutamine powder. What's the difference? There's a L-glutamine, and then is there There's no R-glutamine.
No. Sometimes they'll call it L-glutamine, but it's all glutamine.
It's the same thing.
L. Okay. Whenever you see L in front of a chemical, it's to distinguish it from R. L means left, R means right, and there's some chemical reasons why a particular molecule will be designated as a left-handed molecule or a right-handed molecule. Some chemicals need to be in the L form, some need to be in the R form, but all the glutamine that you buy is going to be L-glutamine, even though it may not say L-glutamine. I wouldn't worry about the L or the R.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you're awesome.
Thank you,
so
Lina.
much.
Appreciate it. Okay. Dave in Michigan, got a couple minutes here. What's going on?
Hey, Ben, love you. Boy, that just threw me off. Sorry about that. Alkaline water, I want to know your
Dave, I can't. Dave, you're. I can't understand you. Talk quieter because there's something up with your phone.
Okay, how's this?
Yeah, that's okay. You have a bad connection for some reason. What's your question, sir?
Alkaline water, and my wife is getting little black, like freckles on her body.
All right. Alkaline water is just, in my opinion, a waste of money. By the time the water gets into your system, by the time it goes into your stomach, it's not alkaline anymore. Now, if there's minerals in the alkaline water, you may get some of the advantage of the minerals. But some of these processes that water manufacturers use to alkalinize their water via electrical energy or whatever, I'm not even sure what they're doing. That's really a waste of money. Now, mineral water is a little bit different. That's a type of alkaline water that will get you some good minerals. That's a little bit different. But I wouldn't waste my money on In fact, alkalinization through food is really a very misunderstood and overrated health process, and maybe we can talk about that tomorrow if you want to call back, Dave. Black freckles on the body involve pigmentation. Pigmentation issues are always about stress, cortisol, nutritional deficiency kinds of stresses. They may involve hormones as well. Stress hormones like estrogen may be involved in pigmentation. If you are getting dark spots on the body, consider it to be a sign of an overloaded stress response. Thanks for your call, Dave. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. That's all the time we have for today. We'll continue our discussion on connective tissue tomorrow. Have a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.